Okay, so one of the killer combos for sampling to me has always been these two devices. And this isn't a video about whether one is better than the other, because I think they both are really strong and have their strengths that lie in certain parts of them and certain parts of them that are equal. And then there's parts of it that I like the combination of both of them together. I'm going to speak more on the both together. They're both simple samplers, is what I would call them. Um, they both have pattern modes. They both have the ability to bring samples into them. Obviously, we know that you can either sample in through a mic or through the input source with a guitar, or through the back here. And you have physical hardware with the velocity sensitivity. And sorry if I shook the screen banging on these pads. But you also have a lot more effects in here, right? So you got a page there, you got three pages. This is going to be probably filled up. I'm imagining they're working on some more effects to bring into the box. So right now, currently, we're sitting on, what is this, 48 if we count this whole page, 32. So we got a total of 30, 36 basically so 36 effects in this box. There's gates on, I mean, not gates. There's 4 bus effects on here, which you don't have bus effects on here, but this can be used in Ableton, and you can use stuff like that to make to do it. It's usually paired with something to get that extra. Price wise, you already know the difference, $5.50, and this is, and you know, I hear people say, yeah, this is a $10 app, and it's true, it's a $10 app, and it works on your phone and it works on the iPad, but you got to have a phone or an iPad. It still costs. You know, iPad aren't cheap. Even if you go get a cheap one right now, you're still probably going to be looking at around $100 to $200, right, for it. Plus you would have to buy the app, and yeah, and then you still gotta. And we're not gonna even count samples. We're just talking about the device itself. So you need at least $100 iPad minimum, and then the device. So you're looking at probably roughly, let's say, $200 for this. And if you have a phone already, then you're kind of blessed, right? That you got something that you can do it on. The fact that it's on Android, I think they added it to Windows recently for free to use. It's on Mac for free to use. Kind of makes it nice if you got those devices already, right? So you don't have to go out and buy something. This is extra, but this is a workhorse in its own way, right? And the sound is quite distinctly its own thing. I think the 303 compressor, the 404, the way they sound is definitely different than what you're going to get out of here. The compressor here is good, but it's not on that level. But for the cost of $10 versus buying a whole nother device, totally different. So I'm not here to say which one's better. Again, they both have strengths, they both have weaknesses. So my focus is, how will I use them together? Well, right now you see there's just a USB plugged in through the USB. If you have, like I showed you before, an audio interface, you can run it into here directly, which to me is still the best way if you can do that. I think it's okay to do USB. It's nothing wrong with it. As you can see, I did it. I'll show you kind of something here. Hold on. So you'll see when it records in through the USB, it's kind of low volume. So you got to use the normalize and bring it up. And that's with the volume sitting right at about 25%. Even if I bring the volume up, let's say to 75, it'll get a little bit better. I'm not going to do that because that is going to blow your eardrums out with these loud, having to turn it up that loud. But you see the point here. So now it's a little bit better. It's still, even with it banging that loud as you heard it on here, because that was me sending it through 2 studio monitors, it still needs to be normalized to play back out, right? The cool thing about the USB, though, I like better than using the line in here. If you use either one of these line in to bring the sound in, you have to run the external source. And that frustrates me because when you run the external source, that's where you get that feedback from. So to me, I like it better if you're going to use the iPad with it, just use, and actually I use this is the worst, by the way, this is the worst cables. They work, but with the iPad, for some reason, they're just not good. I ain't even gonna sit here and tell you what a cable is. You can probably see it if you see it in the thing, but I will not buy those cables again because they're not secure for some reason. And I'm not saying just on the iPad, it does it on the SP2, it does the same thing. So anyway, whole nother story. I can get sidetracked real quick. So yeah, you can turn the volume up too of each sample. That one's, I have both of these set at, sorry, I gotta do something, but I have these set at 127. So my thing is, the way I like to use it, one thing I like about this better is the sequencer. The sequencer in here, I think, for what it's worth, sorry, because I'm in the middle of trying to do something, taking a break. The sequencer, and I'm using my phone obviously to record, but it's showing up on my iPad. So the sequencer in here, let me get rid of that, are these little boxes. And you can pick how many bars you want them to be. I'm gonna set this at 2 bars because that's all this loop is. And then you find the one that's here and you just drag it out with your finger for 2 bars. And then I'm gonna, and then the second one is just a little open hat. So I'm just gonna go in and put the open hat where I want it to be, which is pretty much right there, I believe. Well, I need to shorten this, but so we'll just do it like that. There we go. So that's me just plugging in these two. You could literally play them in if you want and record them. So you have all that. So with the pattern sequence over here, though you do have like the step sequencer portion, you can do it. There's a lot more button mashing. This is a lot quicker, obviously. And easier because stacking samples is quick. You don't have to do pad links and then resample. You can just stack them if you want and put them on top of each other and mix together very well. So Koala has its benefits. Where I like the SP more is that I can take the SP and plug it into my computer and run it through Ableton and record in. Whereas with Koala, I can do that, but it's a lot more work. You gotta plug the cable in, then you gotta link it through, what is that? You gotta link it through the device settings or something like that. And I wouldn't use it. And here's why, is because there's no velocity sensitivity on it. And sorry about that shaking again. There's no velocity sensitivity. So when I hit here, it's just what it is. I have to go in and manually hit the velocity button and then adjust the velocity in here. So one day, if they add it, and I've been saying it for a while, it'd be cool to have. They do have it on the here, I'll show you, on the note repeat. So you'll see if you touch velocity going up and down. If they can add that to the pad, where this is in tonality too, you see me talk about all the time, where you hit the pad vertically will determine how hard the velocity is. Because if you don't have pads or a separate controller, then you lose that feature. Otherwise, you got to plug something in to use the velocity feature. So anyway, that would be something cool that I think Koala should eventually add. And I think I've mentioned it before. It'd be nice for them to add that. But using them together is what we were talking about mainly. And I personally like them together. I think if you use them together, what you gain is you have the sequencer here, which I think is way better than the sequencer in here. But then you also have the ability, and I'm not talking about AUM. I know you can use AUM and get extra stuff and all the other apps that get involved. I'm talking about just these two right here. What you can do is you can use the effects over here to affect these and do it live and record into it. So there's a drop here. And if you're using the effects and let's say you do a live recording, like see it says record song right there. You can literally record the song and not only use these effects that are over here so you can have it going, but then you can come over here and use these over here on it, right? I'm not going to show it right now because I need to, hold on, because I got some stuff to do and I got to get off here. This is going to be a quick video. I'll come back later and show you the effects or something like that. I think I did it in one video, but I can't remember offhand. But yeah, you can definitely use the effects from here though and make it happen. I'm not messing with it right now because it's time consuming for me and I don't have the time to do it. Now to use them, I think, and I may be wrong if I remember right, you have to use them plugged into the input, either the front input or the back input. I don't think, and I may be wrong, that it works on the USB because I shouldn't say USB, the USB-C. I don't think it works on there. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't, because if it did, when I just press this button here, all these effects should be working, and they're not, right? So it may be something that I need to personally go in and do settings for. And if you really want to know how to do that, then I definitely I have no problem with trying to figure it out for you, or even directing you to wherever it needs to be figured, or you want to figure it out. I'm not going to sweat that right now. I got other stuff to do, but I just wanted to show you the fact is they work. So maybe let's see if I turn the input setting on, will that work? Nope. Okay, so I thought it was something quick. I don't think it works through the USB. I think you have to go send it out from here. And to do that, well, I don't have one in front of me, but you'll need like the Apple dongle thing, or another one. You don't have to be Apple. It could be some other third party if you want. And you just go from here out and plug it into the back. And you'll need this cable here, which is basically the left, right, that you'll put into the back of the SP, and then the quarter that will go into here, okay? Simple as that. And then use the effects. So together you gain not only the 36 that are existing in here, but you also have, what is in here? Another 16 effects in here, of which some of them are duplicates. For instance, the stutter is the stutter. But you might like the stutter in here better. Maybe I don't know. I like it in here and here. Really, they both, to me, equally as good as far as I'm concerned. The tempo delay in here is just a simple slide up. Here you have more settings. Like, so you can set, if I hit delay right here, you can see you can set the time. Hold on. You can set the time, the feedback, the level. And then if you hit shift, no, it's here. You got the damp, the low, what is that? The low, is that the hertz for the dampening of the high pass filter and the low pass filter? I guess that's what that is. I don't use it often, but I'm just saying I'm not a big effects person, but I'm just showing you that you have all of that with this together. I tend to do more recording of songs, so if I put an effect on something, it's generally to just trigger one spot, right, with some effects, but not like I don't do a lot of live, in other words. This box does tailor towards more live, in my opinion, but you've seen me use it and record and use for my drums to put in songs. Koala has all that that features already there. There's more effects over here too. I forget about these all the time. These are like the microphone effects. So you can resample using these effects too and add them to, and some of these in here have the ability, if you hold long press them, you can adjust how much is going to be there. So you have both. So together they make a killer combo to me, because now you have a complete system where you have the sequencer that's better, in my opinion. All these are my opinions, by the way. So I know somebody might say, well, I like the sequencer over here. That's cool, but I do and don't. There's some things about it I think are kind of quirky that make it a little bit more work than necessary. One of the things I wish they would put in here, well, they kind of have it in here now, is the wait feature, to wait for something to record. And then in here, you'll see it's hold to record. If you turn that off, now you pretty much have the wait. And what it will do is, I'm just going to play something. And then I'll hit this and go normalize. Actually, you know what? Let me do that over. Let me, so see how it trims it? It'll trim the front too for you. But it leaves you the space if you need the space here. And then all you got to do is hit crop. Now you have your kick, and then normalize it. So you can, just like that. That's recording from here to here. If you're not recording back and forth, it doesn't matter. Then you just drop your samples in. You can pull your samples either with this one, or you can just touch the box, put it on import right here, import file, touch the box, and it'll drop open the menu over here, and then you can pull, right? So with this one, there's a little button mashing, right? It's shift import. Then you go to import here, sample, then find whatever drums you're going to use or sample, and then you have it. Then import it to whatever pad, you know, and then press the button and you got it. So they both have their little ways of handling things, but this one's quicker. If I want to do something like, let's do this. Let's bring in, not this. Let's go back to audio share. We'll go to drums. Let's say I'm in a kit and I want to do, I got this kick right here. I load that kick. Then I go in, I want to load this kick. Now I kind of like this kick better. This one's okay. But I might want to tweak it by turning and then stacking it, right? And then you can get mix. Now you got a different kick. Just move it over, mix it. Different kick, right? So you got options anyway. That's all we're saying. If you want to move, so delete those off. So anyway, neither one is better than the other. They're both good. One's a piece of hardware with some digital stuff going on. The other one is more or less just a piece of software, and both can get the job done. Wrote songs in both of these things, and are using both of them. I probably wrote more songs in this one. I did do one or two in here, but it's a little more work in here with the sequencer. I feel like the sequencer is the one thing that they could work on and maybe enhance it a little bit better. And you can put this nice screen in here. You might as well use the screen. Give us a sequencer, at least this, right? Where you see the MIDI, you see a MIDI note or something, a note that's controlling the audio, where we can see where we're dropping stuff and control it. That would be the one thing I would say Roland could step up. They have the ability to do it, I'm sure, with all the technology they make and the high-end stuff that they put together. They could find a way to at least give us a decent sequencer that you can actually see the sequence. Now they did, to their credit, they did give us step sequencer. The problem with step sequencer to me is I want to see the waveform, because I don't always understand if I'm on or off 100%. And if I want to nudge a note, I can't nudge a note in here very well. You can do it, but it's a lot of work. And I'll be honest, I'm not interested. It's too much work for me. It's by the time I do all the work in here, I always forget and don't end up working on the song. I won't finish anything because of the workload. That's why I end up going to Ableton and just doing it in the Ableton, and then I can complete the workload. So we're in the age where time is precious to people, and if you don't have a lot of time, this is probably not the box for you, unless you just got that, like you have an amazing learning ability where you can learn extremely fast. I would say this box is not that easy to learn. It's not going to be as easy as Koala. Koala is just way easier and more time efficient for making music. However, I still like using it, and there is some things about it, especially having pads to hit on. And sometimes the workflow, I don't mind the extra workload just because I feel like doing something different than looking at a screen. And so for some people, that is their bag. They don't want to look at a screen, even though there's a screen on here. They don't want to sit there and look at a screen all day. They just want to get in and kind of do their thing. So I respect either or, but I think the fact that they've added a screen now, it's more high tech than it's ever been for this box. It would be nice if they enhance the software just to give us that. So we'll see. We'll see what Roland does. I know Merrick is continually building and making things better in here, so I never worry about that, the software aspect of it. He always is on it. So, and he's a one-man crew. So I know if he can do it and make it so cool, then Roland, you could definitely do better. I mean, you got a team. So yeah, for sure. So anyway, no complaints, no gripes. I like both. They're different. They're similar and different at the same time. Both have strengths. That's the end of this video. I've talked long enough, and I'm glad I'm in it about 20 minutes. So yeah, if you have any questions or thoughts, feelings, drop them in the comments, and I'll hit you up. All right, I'm out.